Hello and welcome back to my RC channel. I'm Andy RC, and today I'm taking a look at these 5.8 GHz video transmitters and receiver from Banggood. These are the Eachine RC832 receiver and the TS832 and TS835 video transmitters. They are basically exact clones of the Bosscam variants except much cheaper. The Bosscam combo is 64 GBP and the Eachine is 29 GBP. Not bad considering they appear to be identical in every way. The Eachine TS832 is 14 GBP on its own, compared to that of the Bosscam variant, which is 33 GBP on its own. The Eachine RC832 is 16 GBP and 26 GBP for the Bosscam. You get the gist. Let's take a look at the specs. So I have the TS832 and TS835 transmitter. They look the same, so what is the difference? Well, the TS832's input voltage range is 7 to 16 volts, whereas the TS835 is rated from 7 to 28 volts. It is recommended then to use up to a 3S for the TS832 and up to a 6S for the TS835. That's not quite the case though, and I will get onto that later. They are both 600 milliwatt, 5.8 GHz, 32 channel, 4-band transmitters using RP-SMA antenna connectors. They come with a stock dipole antenna and very handy servo-style connectors and JST connector for instant plug and play. They both have a built-in microphone and also transmit audio on the frequency selected on the transmitter. PAL and NTSC are both supported and switch automatically to match the source. They both weigh 20 grams, and the only difference between them is their voltage range, so that should really make it easy which one to pick. They both have built-in noise filters to filter out noise from the ESCs and the motors, which I will test later. Moving on to the video receiver, and its channels match that exactly of the TS832 and TS835, so all you have to do is match the channels up and you are good to go. We also have a stock dipole antenna and also an audio and video lead. Interestingly, this one is using a stereo jack as the video output and your usual composite video leads to plug into your screen or goggles. There are 2 video output sockets, so you can output dual video if you require. You also get this DC to JST adapter for connecting your 2 to 3S battery to. There's no DC power adapter provided though, so if you want to use it indoors, you will have to purchase that separately. Let's get and test this system out and see if it's worthy of being a part of my high-end 450 size quadcopter build. I'm using this 600 TV line camera from SurveilZone. Its servo lead connects directly into the ground, video and voltage output pins on the video transmitter. We can then plug in our JST connector from the power distribution board of the quadcopter directly into the voltage in and ground pins of the video transmitter, and we are ready to go. We just need to install it all into the aircraft as well. For this example, I have taken the TS832 transmitter and cable tied it to the back plate of my landing gear. I have drilled a hole in the front plate of the landing gear and screwed in the camera mount using nylon screws. Now all I need to do is connect the extra JST connector that I have soldered to my power distribution board and connect it to the voltage and ground pins on the video transmitter. I have bought separately right-hand polarized cloverleaf antennas to ensure I get a nice picture. Now all that's left to do is connect the quad's battery and we are ready for a test flight. Some of you who follow my channel and have watched my high-end 450 size quadcopter build series will know that I designed it for a 4S, but the TS832 is only rated up to 16 volts. A 4S is 16.6 volts, so why have I done this? Well, it turns out that the TS832 runs fine off a 4S. In fact, I have since had many flights with it. I guess 16.6 volts is not that much over 16 volts, but I can confirm that if you're trying to save a bit of money, albeit not that much, the TS832 runs fine off a 4S. Secondly, you may notice very slight artifacts on the video. Despite having a built-in noise filter, some interference is still managing to get through from the ESCs and motors. This might not bother you so much. I have seen much worse. However, I want this to be perfect, so we will rectify this later on in the video. Overall, the VTX is great, and I will be using it for FPV on this quadcopter. 600 milliwatts is all I will ever need on a craft like this. Unfortunately, the weather has let me down, and I'm flying in what can only be described as a gale. The sun is really low on the horizon, which is where it stays this time of year, so apologies for that. Let's land and see if we can rectify that noise issue. This is an LC filter. I got it off eBay for 7 GBP. It will filter out the noise on your video. I have connected it to this FPV voltage down stepper, which will step down the voltage to 12 volts as well. This is going to sit before the voltage in on our VTX. So let's see how the video looks now. Unfortunately, it's been more than 2 hours since the last video, and this time of year, that's about as much light as I will get. Apologies for the dull video, but you can see that all the interference has gone. Unfortunately, the gale force winds have not, and even the Pixhawk is struggling to keep a steady hold this time. You can see that I'm getting a perfect picture no matter how far I go in my field. I hope to push the boundaries more if the weather ever improves. I have switched the props on this quad to RC Timer carbon fiber 10045s, which has made a huge difference. Not only does it make for a more stable flight, but despite not using any vibration dampening on the camera, there is no jello to be seen on the picture, even in broad daylight. This is good news for adding my gimbal to get some nice video footage. This is going to make a really nice starting point to add an OSD, which I will cover in my high-end 450 quadcopter series. Thanks so much for watching. Please continue to subscribe. Cheers.